Welcome back, everybody. So it's time to start picking some hops. So the first one that is finished for me is my Centennial. Now, if you remember back from the first videos of 2017 that I started doing on my hop plants, Centennial was the first one to really start taking off. It started growing first, it got the flowers first, it got the cones first. And so what I try and do is start at the top and work my way down. So I'll pick a side and just go through it, start picking, then work my way down to the bottom. Most of the time, I believe, the hops will not grow on the first foot of vines that start. So you really don't have to get down on your hands and knees. Some of mine, as you'll see in some of these shots, I do have to get down, and that's because the plant has actually grown back downwards. Instead of following the twine and going up, it kind of went back down, which really isn't a big deal to me because you can just pull the vines up and pick them, then put it back down. Also, as you can see in some of these, some of them are brown. Now, depending on how you pick them, you can pick them, on different weeks or different days, just depending on how much time you have. As you can see right there, the ones that are really brown, what I'll do is I'll just throw back in the center and I won't use. If it's got a little bit of brown on it, I'm not too concerned because we're going to dry them anyway. So I'll just go through, pick everything, and move down as I go. Also, when you pick them, you want to make sure they're like tissue paper and they've got a good amount of the yellow stuff inside. Lupids, Liptons, something like that. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but you'll know when they're ready. If you open one up, you'll see a whole bunch of yellow stuff right in the center, and then you'll pretty much know when it's time to pick. But yeah, just go from the top, go down, put them in a bucket. Usually I won't keep too many of them in my hands at once because they are kind of springy, and half the time if you load up your hands too much, they'll just start falling on the ground, and then you'll have to start picking them up off the ground. So I'll pick 5 or 6 of them, throw them in the bucket, then just keep on doing this. So I would suggest if you should have a beer or something to drink while you're doing this, because depending on how well the plant's growing is going to determine how long you're out there. Now, this is a second year Centennial plant, and I did get quite a bit off this one. I actually think it was a little bit more than last year, but not that much. So as you can see from this vine or vines, this one decided to grow up the side instead of around the rope, and I just let it. Most of the time it is easier if you let them grow vertical, because then the hop cones will hang down and they're, to me, easier to get. Yes, they're easy to get when they're going, say, horizontal and vertical at the same time or on a slope. But to me, letting them go up this, I wasn't too concerned. I did feel this one wasn't going to reach the top this year, so that's why I just let it go. Now, obviously, if it was going to grow like my Cascade did, I would have trained them to go on the actual string better. But because I did think that it wasn't going to make it to the top, I just let it go up, and I figured, hey, if it did go a little further than I thought, I could train it onto the rope at the top, and then that would allow it to go left or right wherever it wanted to go. So here you can see, if you look at this vine, I did cut it. It got tangled up in there, and instead of trying to pull the whole thing down and lose a whole bunch of cones, I did go ahead and cut it. And if you're afraid of spiders, I would say cut these down and almost shake them down, because I did have a couple that decided to join me in the picking. But I mean, they're not going to hurt you or anything. But yeah, if you're scared of spiders, they do like to nest in here. And so I would suggest, if you don't like them, pull them down. So as you can see, I do cut some of it and just unwind it. Then that way I don't have to bend down or stand on my tippy toes to get stuff. I can just go ahead and pick it at my level. So here we did find a friend caterpillar. I did have 2 of these yellow caterpillars in there. The other one was on the ground, so I'm sure from cutting some of the binds and shaking them, it must have fell off. So here's what it looked like before I started picking. And here's what it looked like when I was done. Now obviously I'll clean this up, but this is pretty much what it looks like when you're all done. So then what I do is I put them on a screen and spread them all out, so that way they're not overlapping or they're not on top of each other. So then I'll take a fan and put it under there and let them dry, and we'll have a video when I vacuum seal them. Thank you for watching this video. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Leave me a comment down below to tell me what you thought about this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe and share, and hit that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. You can check out these videos over here. Also head over to 31stbrewing.com for everything beer and home brewing related.